Maseches Bava Kama Daf Chavav Amud Beis. Chavav Amud Beis Bava Kama. We are in the sixth line. We're in the sixth line. This shows Menachem Ben Akiva, Rus Bas Shalom, and Rochel Bas Ben Zion, and Yofi. Lafuas Yudis Bas Rivka B'Sof Shochel Yisrael. Omar Rabba says, we learned yesterday, Adam Mu'ad Le'oilom, a person is always accountable for what he does when it comes to Nezikin. Not always. When it comes to Nezikin, no mercy. Yeah, it may be a mistake, even if a person falls asleep and then mistakenly hits something while he's asleep. If we talk about damaging other people's property, you are always chayiv. Now we're going to see a case, and we're going to see the 4-5 different halachas with the same scenario. The same scenario happened with 5 different halachic applications. See how each area of halacha is different regarding shogeg. Let's see. Omar Rabba. A person has an even, a person has a stone, a pebble, and it's resting on his lap. Let's say a little child saw his father, the father is sitting down, I don't know, with the computer, well, it's Shabbos, so it's not computer, drinking his coffee, learning his Gemara, learning the Gemara, and the child thinks it's very cute and funny. The 3-year-old kid puts a stone on your lap, and you have no idea. You didn't know. You didn't notice it. You're Shakua in the Gemara, and you don't know that your little son, your grandson, puts the pebble on your lap, in your lap. Velo hikirbo, you had no idea. Ve'omad, then he stood up, the person with a stone on his legs, Venaflo, and it fell, the stone fell, and what happened? Well, depends. Now we're going to have all kinds of cases. What happened when the stone fell into the floor? Let's say as the stone fell, after falling down, it hits the floor and shattered someone's glass. Then you're chayiv, because it's a complete honest. You had no idea your kid put it there ever. You didn't know about the stone, and you got up not knowing anything. But nevertheless, sorry, we don't care. When it comes to abod dvorim, when it comes to what's abod dvorim, the 4 different nezikin, what did we say? The 4 different tashlumim, yeah? Tzar, ripui, sheves, and boishes, the shame, the medical expenses, v'chulei, all these things are potter, right? By mistake. If something was done by complete mistake, shogeg or oines, those 4 things you're not chayiv. Why? Because the pasuk petza tachas petza talks about even a grof. You know, like an agrof is a fist, something which is bemezid. If it's not mezid by shogeg, then you are potu. Sorry, but about volume you're potu. Lenient Shabbos kodesh. Let's say it's Shabbos, and the kid put the pebble on your lap, which he shouldn't have, but he doesn't know. And then you got up, and then as the stone fell down, boom, something happened. Some kind of chilul Shabbos happened out of that. You broke something, and that breaking was a chilul Shabbos for whichever reason. Then you are patur. Why? Meleches machsheves osro toiro. Here the Torah only asks meleches machsheves. What does that mean? Meleches machsheves is a pasuk. It's a concept which we learn from the psukim of Yaakov Kudei. Meleches machsheves is the melacha of Shabbos. You only chayev korban chatos if your melacha, your action is in tandem, in cooperation, so to speak, with your machshava, with your mind, which means. If, first of all, by the way, we're not talking about mazid. Mazid is completely out of the realm here. Out of the story is mazid. Nobody's mazid over here. But even when you're not mazid, not on purpose, you're shoigeg. The word shoigeg, to be translated as mistake, is a very, very bad translation. Why? Much too general. Because a mistake that you chayv on for Shabbos and you chayv korban chatos is a mistake of meleches machsheves. The person knows exactly what he's doing. He knows that he is throwing the stone in order to break something. He knows that he's writing. He knows that he's he's turning on the light. He knows that he's cooking. Elamai. He doesn't know today's Shabbos, or he doesn't know that it's also. He doesn't know that mechatech is also. He doesn't know that cutting paper to 2 perfectly equal pieces is a isudoraisa. He just doesn't know. Never learned it in Hebrew school. Okay, or he doesn't know today's Shabbos. You're sure it's Sunday. People are dressed more or less the same in some parts of the world. Yeah, Shabbos and Sunday. And therefore what? He doesn't know. Then he's chayav. But in this case, he had no idea what he's doing b'chlal. He had no idea that the stone is there, let alone he didn't know that the stone is falling off his lap. It was too late. It was a complete surprise. It was taken by surprise. That's not called shoygeg. That's called misasek. Misasek is a person who has no idea what's flying. This is even light version of misasek. And it's potter completely from anything. It's potter. He has no awareness, no meleches machsheves, no cooperation here between the mind and the body, and therefore he's potter from anything on Shabbos, not even a korban. Except the day of just because so far, Mashenkin, when it comes to Nezikin, Odom Loilom. That's why, because the Baruch Hu decided. That's why, because by Nezikin we say Odom Loilom. Odom Loilom means that even if it's a complete mistake and you had no idea of knowing that because somebody put the stone in your lap and you didn't know that the stone was there and it fell, Lo Meshane, still honest on when it comes to Nezikin Yochayv. That's it. You should have been more careful. Maybe you should have noticed that it put the stone. I don't know. That's a very, very high level of yeah. The only ptur is the person who falls asleep and everything around him is clean, and then somebody else put it while he's asleep. But if somebody puts something on your lap while you are awake, that tiny bit of level of consciousness still, when it comes to nezikin, is a tvia, makes you chayv. That's a big chiddush. Lenient golus. Let's talk about the next piece, and that is lo'olenu, murdering someone. Lenient golus. Let's say a person killed someone. There was actually a person under his feet, let's say, lying there from some reason, and the stone hit him and killed him. So is it called a rotzech b'shoygeg that has to go to the Ir Miklat, that has to go to that haven city? Lenient golus potu. Potu means no, he doesn't have to go to the Ir Miklat, because this is not regarding killing. This is not called shoygeg. Why? Because regarding the case of what you call it, the rotzech b'shoygeg, the person is only chayv if he knew that he has a stone in his hand or in his lap, or he knew that he's going into the forest in order to cut trees, to fell the trees, and then afterwards he forgot, and then something happened. But he's only chayv to go to the city, to the Ir Miklat, if he originally knew of the situation, and then something happened later. But in this case, he never knew. He had no idea right from the start. He had no idea whatsoever that the case is that there's anything going on, that there's a stone in his lap, Mimel is potter. Yeah, why? Because it says there a few times, the word shgogo repeats itself a few times in the parsha of Rotzech b'shoygeg, and therefore we say, shgogo has to be dafka, real shgogo, knowing and forgetting. A bit like Shabbos, although soon we're going to see a difference, okay? Mashenki, if you never knew, he's potter. He's potter from going to the Ir Miklat. It's below shgogo. It's more like oinest, and he doesn't have to do anything. Yeah, he doesn't have to go to Ir Miklat. Lenient Eved. What's the story of Eved? Eved is like this. Let's say somebody has an Eved Knaini. The Torah says, Goisha Eved, and Eved Knaini, says the Torah in Parshas Mishpatim, the Torah says that what happens if a master Lo Leinu beats up his Eved Knaini, and now the Eved Knaini lost a limb. A shen or ein. The Torah says, or einoi or ishinoi, the eye, he poked out this Eved's eye, like, like all these cruel stories from the south, yeah, or he took out his teeth, not took out, how do you say, he pulled out his teeth, yeah, not through good medical reasons, let's say, or any other of the 24 extremities of the body, the 20 toes and fingers, and by a man, the male organ, and the nose and the 2 ears, lolenu, and by women, it's different organs, whatever, you figure it out yourself. Yeah, it's not that organ, it's a chest. But if somebody cuts off a limb, or an eye, or a tooth off his Eved Knaini, then the Eved Knaini goes free. Every time it goes free. If that was done to him, then he gets a prize of freedom. So now let's see what happens if a person had the stone in his lap. The Eved was sitting somewhere below him, somehow lying down there, I don't know, sleeping. The person got up and boom, by complete mistake, he poked the eye or whatever, broke the tooth of the Eved by that stone that fell on him, while the person had absolutely no idea that the stone is there. What do you say then? What's a machloikes? The Tanya. It says in the Brisa, let's say the Rebbe, which means the master, excuse me, the Rebbe was a doctor. The Omerloi, the slave asks his master, Kchol Eini, please treat my eye. You know, they used to put Kchol, like some kind of ointment in the eye. Yeah, whatever, some kind of, it's called Kchal, the Sima, and by mistake, he made him blind. The master doctor, he blinded by mistake his Eved. Chator Lisheni, or he asked him, please treat my tooth, do a root canal. Lachto is like to dig under the tooth. You know, doctor, whichever nice Jewish dentist, there are many of them around. Please treat my tooth. Asked the Eved to the master. The Ipila, and by mistake, he pulled it out, the master, not intentionally, while doing the treatment, somehow the tooth fell apart. Sichik ba'odon v'yotza l'cheirus. Haha, the Eved sichik ba'odon, he pulled his leg. He tricked him. Now he can go free. Yeah, why? Because at the end of the day, even though it was done by mistake and the Eved didn't mean to do anything vicious, excuse me, the Odon. The Odon actually was trying to be nice, but at the end of the day, I don't care why. If the Odon says to the Kam, if the Odon pull the tooth or poke the eye, then the Eved goes free. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, no. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says no, the Eved does not go free. The Shichaso, it says about the eye in the Torah that he has to leshachet, to destroy. Achiskabin l'shachaso. Only in the case in which the Odon actually means to harm him, and he means to be mashchis. The word mashchis is always like very strong. He's a destruction on purpose, like by Sdoim, the shachaso. Then he's chayev. But if he's a nice guy who did it by complete mistake, then he's potter. The same thing over here. This Odon, he had the stone on his lap, completely unaware. So according to Tanakama, it's like a psikresha. That's it. The Eved goes free. According to Rashbak, the Eved doesn't go free because it was not done on purpose. That's case number one. Now case number two. What happens? Hikirba v'shochecha v'omad v'noflo. Hikirba means at some point the person did know that the stone is on his lap. Yeah, you little cutesy 3 years old son, grandson, or somebody put a stone on your lap. And you say, cutesy, so nice. A stone on Zaydi's lap, and then you were learning your Torah, and you completely forgot that the stone is there. And then the Omad, you stood up, eventually. And then the Nofla, and as you're standing up, you forgot about its existence. You only knew about it before. And then it fell down. You tell me now, what's the halacha? Let's go again through everything, all different cases. All cases are the same except for one. Lenient Ezekiel, of course, is chayiv, all the more so, right? If the stone it fell down, actually that stone fell and broke someone's cell phone, then of course you chayiv, odamod lo'ilam, even more so. Here there is a certain level of consciousness, worse than before. Lenient daled dvarim, still potur, that's a chiddush. But the four things is still potur. Yeah, you cause the other person shame and sorrow and pain and this and losing work, you're potur, because it's still considered as shaygig. Because as it actually happened, you had no bad intention, so you're potur. Lenient golus chayiv, that's the only difference. Spot the differences, golus. When it comes to golus, let's say the person under your feet died from that not so innocent stone, the golus you are chayev. Why? The posuk, as I told you, says many times the word shgogo, michlal dehavila yadia. That is to denote the word shgogo. If I say there is a mistake, that is to say that beforehand there was some level of knowledge of what's going on. If I say I forgot, means I knew about before. I cannot tell you I forgot my Chinese because I never knew Chinese. Yeah, I like languages. Chinese is not the language which I master. I did not forget. Did you forget your Japanese? You forgot your Japanese? I'm sorry. Yeah, so then you can't forget. Oh, you can possibly be Japanese. For kids. Well, you can't forget it. You never knew. So when it comes to the shgogo of roitzech b'shoigeg, only if there was knowledge before, and then he forgot, and then there was a mistake following that, is chayv golus, v'ho havil yadiyah. Yes, there's a yadiyah, because he knew, and then he forgot, and that for that purpose, we say for golus, he has to go to the miklat. Lenient Shabbos. What about Shabbos? Still potter, we stay the same. Why? Because it's true that on Shabbos he knew before that there was a stone on his lap, and maybe he should have been more careful. But if Lemaisa, at the time of Melacha, at the time of the Malacha being done, he didn't know what's going on b'chalal. He had no idea that the stone is there. He really forgot that the stone was there. Okay, they can prove it. He had no idea that the stone is there. Then, at the time of Malacha, there was no awareness of what's going on. But it was complete surprise. Oh, that stone. Oh, that was an hour ago that my grandson came. I already sent 50,000 emails since then, like complete, not emails. It's Shabbos, excuse me. No, not emails. 50,000 words of Gemara. Then what? Then I'm potter. Then it's potter because it's not called shoygeg, it's below shoygeg. Yeah, he doesn't have to bring a korban because his awareness right now is zero. Lenient eved. What about the slave whose eyes was poked or the tooth was pulled out? Again, plukta dobshim galil v'rabonon. Rabonon say that the eved goes free, right? And Oshbag says no, only if it's done on purpose. Here, it's not done on purpose, so the eved stays an eved. Next, please. The next case of shgoga, and that is more, we're zoning in more on Shabbos. Niskaven lizrok shtayim bezorok arba. Let's say the person wanted to throw 2 ames. He wanted to throw. No grandchild, no innocent playing with the stones. The person wants to throw a stone. It's a stone's throw from where he is. He wanted to throw the stone 2 ames away from me, or 2 meters. Let's talk about ames. Let's be frumy. And 2 ames, and boom, by mistake, he threw 4. Yeah, he's not exactly from the NBA. He doesn't know exactly how to throw or pitch or whatever. So he, instead of 2, by mistake came out that the stone fell 4 ames away from him, and that's 2 like he was planning. So let's go again through everything again. Lenin Ezekiel chayev. Of course you chayev in Ezekiel. Why? Uda means le'olam, right? You always chayev for any mistake you make. All the more so here, where the mistake is not that much of a mistake. Yeah, it's just a matter of 2 versus 4. Of course, when Ezekiel chayev. Yeah, I want to throw the stone 2 ames away. It came, it basically flew 4 ames away, and that's where my friend's fancy Chinese vase was lying. I gotta pay. Lenient dalet dvorim, potu, still potu. Wow. The dalet dvorim, let's say there was a person there who was injured and everybody laughed and there was pain and there was loss of work. I don't have to pay him. Why not? Because dalet dvorim are only b'mezid. The 4 extra payments are only if mamish had bad intention. But if it's 2 and 4, that lemaisa wasn't your intention. You missed the basket, you missed the target, you're potter. Lenient Shabbos. For Shabbos now it's a little bit less pashut, because why? Shabbos now we're talking about a person who's in the Reshus Harabim, which I think is called public domain, Bangalit. And now he's in the public domain. Let's see, throw the stones daled ames. What would be the halacha? Reshus Harabim is chayev. Chal Shabbos. But let's say he meant to only throw. It's not Nezikin. Oh, but very good. Now this person, he wanted to throw 2 ames, which is allowed. 2 ames, not 4. 1 time you're allowed, even with the Rabbanon. Let's say the stone is not muktzah. The stone was already designated before. He knows, I'm joking by the way, he knows a lot of cars drive through his neighborhood. I'm not endorsing this. Yeah. So he prepared the stone, the chavana, to do Kiddush Hashem. So now to be Makar of them. So now, but the guy doesn't know how to throw so well. So he knows his intention was to throw 2, which is really allowed. Because 2 ames is within the realm which is allowed to throw on Shabbos, right? It's only 4 that's not allowed. Now, all of a sudden was 4. That was completely out of realm, out of his radar, physically and mentally. Then what? Meleches machsheves ba'inan. You need meleches machsheves, and you don't have meleches machsheves. You're potter. You're potter. Because why? You had no idea it's going to be 4. You wanted to do something that's not osur, and the osur thing came by itself. It's not meleches machsheves. It wasn't a planned action of iser. Now, lenient golus. Oh, golus is now complicated. I'm choosing here one shot of Rashi. I don't have my own Gemara with my notes. Lenient golus. Now comes a bit of a story. The Gemara says, "Asherloi tzodo omar rachmono." The Torah says, when is a person chayv golus? Asherloi shodo. Loi tzodo means it's a person which had no latsud is to hunt, but latsud also means to be tzad is like to be in an ambush or to aim. To have an aim, latsud is like to know where aiming towards. Yeah. That is to exclude one that threw two, and instead 4 came out. Let me explain according to Rashi's second shot and other Rishonim which I've seen. And I saw the Gemara also in Makis. Basically, the story is as follows. According to a group of Rishonim, a person who threw a stone intentionally, let's say it's me over here, and there's another guy in the forest, and he's 4 amis away from me, and I threw the stone with no intention of killing him. I threw the stone 2 amis. Yeah, let's say I'm here and he's there. I threw the stone in the middle of the road, middle of the way between us, the middle point. 2 amis and not 4. I didn't want to kill him, but I intentionally threw the stone 2 amis away from him, but I'm not such a great basketball player or ball player, which I'm not. And then by mistake, Khalila, it hit him and he was 4 amis. Yeah, the stone went further than I expected. Now we say that this is worse than Golus. It's worse than Shogeg. Regular Shogeg means loit sodo. He has no intention whatsoever to be mitzadeh, to aim towards anything. It was a complete mistake. This guy has intention. This guy threw it on purpose, on a very specific place, next to the victim, right? He didn't mean should hit the victim. He wanted to be next to the victim. A bit like, sometimes the police or other people, they what do? They shoot next to the person, but not at the person, to scare him off. Warning shots. You always have the good words, right? The warning shots right near, but not, sometimes they make a mistake, right? Not never in America. And what? And the person himself gets killed. It happens everywhere. That is a bit of a similar story over here. Here, because this is worse than the regular shogeg, that's why he doesn't deserve to go to your miklat. Not that he's potter from your miklat because he's a miskan cutesy. He's worse than your miklat, yeah, but he's better than mezid. In other words, it's called shogeg a korov lemezid. It's shogeg, no intention of killing the person, it's true, but it's close to mezid. Because it's too close to mezid, and therefore it's above the regular, worse. I mean, when I say above, I mean worse, more severe than regular shogeg, then ir miklat is not good enough for him. I don't know what his punishment would be. That's a bit of a limbo. You can't kill him and can't send him to your nidachas. I haven't learned makis in a long time. I'm sure it's discussed over there. But Lamaisa, there is such a concept here of shogeg gekov lemezid. It's worse than the regular average Joe Shmo shogeg that can go to a miklat and just live there until the Kohen dies. In this case, it's worse than that because he's mitzaded. He's mitzaded. He has this plan, but the plan got wrong. So in that case, he doesn't get to go to ir ha miklat. I'm sorry, to your miklat, yeah. There are different pshatim, but I would stick to this one to make life simpler. Soon we're going to come to a very nice indicator. Not difficult, but very nice. Linen Eved. Eved stays the same throughout the whole story. Linen Eved. What happens if I threw a stone 2 ames away from my Eved, and by mistake it hit the Eved, which was 4 ames away, and by mistake it poked his eye, or his tooth, or actually his finger, or his ear, or his male organ, or his nose? Then it is machalokas, the same machalokas again and again and again. What's the machalokas? Rab Shimon Gamliel says, you're potter, meaning the Eved stays an Eved, because you really didn't have mamish bad intention. You didn't do it be'edai b'ashchoso, like to destroy with a kavano. It was a mistake. Maybe you wanted to scare him, but you really didn't mean to poke his eye. Then you are potter, meaning he stays your Eved. And Rabbanon say no. Rabbanon say it's even a desecration. They do something else with the word v'shichato, and they say no. Whenever an Eved lost his vision or lost his tooth or lost his something as a result of your action, mister, you are chayav to let him free. Next, please, last but not least, let's just do this one and then, no, it's very similar with one more difference. Now comes another story about Shabbos. The other way. He wanted to throw Daled Amis, the stone, also in Shabbos, and he went too far, and instead of 4, basically the trajectory went 8 Amis away, not 4 Amis. Here it's different. Again, in most cases it's the same except for Shabbos. Leniencies, of course, Odamod Lo'ilam is across the board. Every time we see again and again, Odamod Loilam, no reductions. We're not being nice over here. Lenient Dalet Dvorim Potu. Again, lenient Dalet Dvorim, we are being nice. The 4 extra payments, as long as you didn't have a clear Kavana B'mezid, exactly aiming and knowing what you're doing, you're potter to pay for the shame and the pain and the D and the losing your job. Lenient Shabbos. Lenient Shabbos, it's nicht as like poshit. Why? Lenient Shabbos, think for a second, my friends. He wanted to be Michal Shabbos, right? Maybe he didn't know it's Shabbos, but he wanted to do an act which is Chilul Shabbos. In other words, he wanted to throw a stone 8 Amis on Shus Rabim. Obviously, needless to say, when the Torah says 4 Amis is also B'Shus Rabim to get from point A to B in London, let's say there's no Eruv, between x plus 4 is a minimum. Of course, if I take the stone and I throw it 8 amis away, or 16 or 30, I don't know if the name is, I don't know, Karim Abdul-Jabbar, I don't know, whatever, 20 amis, then what? Then, of course, I'm chayiv, right? Now, this guy, he wanted to throw 8 amis. It's not such a great picture. What happens? He only threw 4. But he wanted to do 8, he did 4. So he wanted to do Chilul Shabbos X, and instead of that, what came out was Chilul Shabbos Y. It's not so simple already. So now, Zog de Heilige Gemure, lenient Shabbos, depends. Be'oimel kol mokum shetirtze tanuach in. Iloi loi. Which means, kol mokum shetirtze tanuach. Let's say the person says like this. I'm playing some kinds of sports game, but not a perfectionist. So let's say I say, if I'll throw it 8 amis away, for me, that's what I prefer. I wanted to be, 4, excuse me. I wanted to throw 4, and it came out 8, I want to be Chal Shabbos 4 amis. It came to be 8 amis, too far apart. There's also the opposite case, by the way. We're not talking about it now. It's Machlokes Rishonim. Let's talk here about the Gemara. He wanted to throw 4, and he went further than expected 8. He wanted to Chal Shabbos? Yes. Okay. So now, but not exactly, the result wasn't what he wanted. If he said, Kol Makom Shetirtze Tanuach, I'm not a perfectionist. I prefer to throw Idal Damas away from me, but if I miss and it actually goes Kol Mokim Shetirtze, wherever it wants, it's going to land, Seder, I'm also okay with that. Plan A, I want Dal Damas, but if the object falls 8 Damas, I'm also okay with that. He's playing some kind of mini golf or something. I don't know. It's going to hit this hole instead of that. But yeah, but okay, I'll get the second medal. Then he's chayiv. Why? Because Lamaisa 8 amis was also on his radar. Not only 4, also 8. 8 is okay with him. Mimela, that's what he wanted. What he wanted, but he was part of his kavana. That's what happened. So it's chayiv. Eloi. But let's say the perfect says, I'm number 1. I want only 4 amis. I need to get to that specific spot over there. I want that daled amis spot. Shoot! 8 amis is not what I wanted. I just lost my gold medal in the golf because I didn't get 4. I got 8. Then he's potter. Why? Because Lamaisa now, what he wanted didn't happen. That's not called his kavana. That's not called Melechas Machshavas Chiddush. Even though he wanted to do one action, but another action came out, Mimela his potter on Shabbos, because his kavana, his specific rotzon did not actually take place. It's not called Melechas Machshavas in his potter. Only if he included the flunk, the mistake that happened was included in his mind, and he's okay with it happening, then it is part of his rotzoin, and then he's chayav to korban chatos. Okay, that's in Shabbos. Soon you get your questions. Lenient golus. What about golus? Same thing. Ashaloy tzodo. What about golus? Same thing. Loit sodo. Loit sodo means if he's not sodo, if he doesn't have any bad intention, then he goes to the ear miklat. It's a complete mistake. Here, it's not a complete mistake. You wanted to throw it next to the victim, but it wasn't exactly. But the victim it hit the victim not exactly the way you wanted, true, but you were on that direction. You were in that sad. You're not exactly out of the realm of the victim. You were aiming something near him. You're not shogig enough to go to your miklat. You're close to Mezid, who should be killed. Now, we're not going to kill you because you didn't want to kill him. On the other hand, you don't deserve your miklat. It's kind of limbo. You're stuck between both. You fall between the cracks, and you don't go to the miklat. Now, last but not least, Linyan Eved, the same thing again and again. Again, shall I repeat, or are you going to say it? The Eved was there in the unwanted spot, in the unplanned place. And what happens then? You hit the Eved, the eye is out, the tooth is out, the nose is broken, I don't know, it's not broken, it's off, cut his nose. Then according to Roshbag, we say that the Eved stays there because you didn't mean it to do it intentionally. And according to Rabbanon, the Eved goes free because Lamaisa, you did it. Now we're going to talk about very exciting things, but beforehand we have questions. Yes, Ellen, how are you?
I'm surprised that the
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem, to learn Torah. Now we're going to talk about three different cases, and the common denominator between them is the fact that we have accomplices in crime. The three cases are somebody threw either an object or a person off the roof, and then another person came with a sword and killed him. We had the case before, if you remember.
So it was coming down off the roof, pushed off the roof.
1 second.
Someone threw a cage off the roof and someone smashed it.
Very good. We had that too. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. We had the case before. And I want to actually refresh your memory regarding when we saw the case before. Remember Tzroiris? We're about to end the Perek, by the way. Perek Sheni, we're about to finish soon, Metz Hashem, tomorrow. But the beginning of the Perek was all about Tzroiris, right? There's a question in the Gemara, if an animal stepped on the Tzroiris flew away, but it was still intact, yeah, somehow he kicked it, and then it smashed in the other side, in the other corner of the chotzer. So then the question was, is it tzroiros or not? Do you go by the beginning of the nezek, and at the beginning he was still sholem, he was still fine, or do you go by the end of the nezek, by the result, not by the cause, but the effect, the end result, and there it was smashed into pieces in the corner. You pay nezek sholem, like you stepped into it now, or you pay chatzi nezek, and you look at the end, because at the end it was over there. Bekitzer, and then the Gemara wanted to bring our case, which we're going to see now. Omar Rabbe, Zor kli merosh hagag. A person threw a kli from the top of the roof. Uba acher, came another person, v'shiboy b'makel, and he actually, the guy, the baseball player who lived in the first floor, he says, wow, that's a great chance to take my bat and show my prowess, to smash the kli, which is on its way down. The kli is about to be smashed on the floor. The second person lives on the first floor, came and boom, smashed it with a bat and broke it. Potu. Who is Potu is a good question. All Rishonim agree that the second person is Potu. The second person is not liable, even though he's the one who broke it. My time, why is that? Mana tvira tova, because he broke a broken vessel. The vessel is already, doomed to break. Right, basically, that's his destiny very clearly. Last time we checked, gravity kind of works in this earth, and therefore it's going to break, and therefore your breaking didn't really do anything. It's still already destined to be broken. Everyone agrees to that, because the Gemara says it. The question is, what happens to the first guy? Rashi says that the first guy, is he chayev? Is the first guy chayev? Rashi originally, in the previous sugya, said yes. The first guy is chayev. The one actually threw it from the top of the roof. He's the one who's chayev because he really caused the thing to happen, right? Somebody else came at the end. That's irrelevant. The second action didn't really do anything because it wasn't a relevant thing. And therefore, when it comes to nezikin, as much as the first person is chayev, the second one is poter. Now, Rashi over here interestingly says that the guy on top is the owner of the kli. The owner of the kli. Yeah, the Gemach won't accept his kli. He's the opposite of a hoarder. By couples, usually one is a hoarder, one is not. So it's either he or she who says, like, I've had enough of his or her, vases. They fill the entire house. It's Shemitah anyways. What are we going to do now with a flower pot? And she went, or he went, and they threw it on the thing. Yeah, and then somebody else came and smashed it just for the fun of it. Okay, so now, says Rashi, that could be the case where we sort of ignore the first person because he's the owner. Of course he's not chayev. The question is, why did Rashi change? Over there, Rashi spoke about the person, yes, being chayav, the first one. Here, Rashi talks about the person who is himself the owner. The answer is, I think, over there, we spoke about nezikin, about the animal stepping on the kli, and we brought that case in order to prove the other one. So there, the whole vort of the Gemara bringing this case was to prove that the first one is chayav, that nezek goes by the beginning, not by the end. So there, Rashi had to say that there's the mazik. Here, Rashi doesn't have to say it. Because here the whole point is only about the second guy, not about the first guy. So Rashi Dafka ignores it because there's no point of saying it here. Now, another interesting thing is the Ravid. The Ravid, which is so yesterday in the Rashba, says the first guy is also potter. Wow. The first guy is potter. Although it's very, very highly probable that it's going to break, we're not 100%. Maybe somebody will come and catch it. Maybe somebody will come, some gutza will come and put a blanket underneath. As much as we're mechayev, would like to be mechayev the first guy, Lamaisa, he didn't break it. The one who broke it was the second guy. And the first guy can say, hypothetically, maybe something would have happened. Let's say the first guy is a mazik. He's not the owner. He's a vicious person who wants to break the other person's kli. But Lamaisa, the Ravid holds, maybe others too. Most people don't hold like the Ravid. He says the first guy is also potter. He didn't break it. And we can play the games of maybe something would have happened. If you follow the parsha sheet of your shiur, there's the case of the baby that fell onto the carriage. You know, the two people had a fight about a baby product store. One was underneath, the other guy was on top. Underneath was a baby, baby stuff shop. And the guy on top was moichel to the second guy to have the baby store there. Even was very disturbing for him. So because it was Mechel, at some point his toddler played on top and fell to the ground, and he fell onto a baby carriage, which was there, bizchus, the fact that there was a baby store underneath. So the fact he was Moichel, the bottom guy with a baby store that disturbed him, and he said, okay, you can have your store even though it disturbs me, that saved the life of his own baby. So you never know. That's a story happened by Rav Nissim Karelich. It's not a fable, it's a true story from recently. Yeah, you're moichel, you're not mafsid.
So what's the what's the argument for both being potter?
The Ravid holds the second one is potter because he really didn't do anything, which you can say, when I came, it was just for fun. I wanted to practice my baseball, so I broke it. But of course it's going to be broken. I broke something which was obviously destined to be thrown. 99% it would have been smashed on the ground. Yeah, remember Zechonim L'Vracha, Twin Tower, from up there you fall, that's it, yeah? Mashing, that's, so the second one is for sure potter. Now the top guy, most people say, is chayev. He did throw it, he did aim to break it, right? The Ravid says no. The Ravid says that the top guy is also potter because A, he didn't break it at the end of the day. And even though it was almost 100% sure it's going to happen, but Lamaisa, we're not yet 100% sure. We don't know. Maybe something would have happened. Although this maybe is very unlikely, but it's good enough as a loophole for his lawyer, so to speak, to present him and say, my client didn't really do it and didn't do an action which is 100%. Wait and see. Had it gone down, I don't know, maybe somebody would come with a blanket. Maybe the smart baseball player could have been not so stupid and actually come and hug it. I don't know. Mimela, although most Rishonim argue, so you can argue too, but what?
Counterintuitive.
What do you mean?
In other words, you have something that's in perfect, the dish, the kli is in perfect condition.
Yeah.
And at the end of the parsha, it's broken into 1,000 pieces. And you say both are potter.
That could be.
I can hear much more than you say both are chayev.
No, both can't be chayev. No such both chayev. They didn't both break it. Both chayev don't hear. No way. No, not both chayev. That the Gemara says, man, it's the second guy's potter. You can't be chayev both. It's either the fall or the break. No, because of the vow. No. I can hear the top one chayev. That's most Rishonim. Most Rishonim. So the top one is chayev because he's the one who really broke it. Elamai, the second one broke it, is irrelevant already. That's killed post-mortem, it's killed after the death. Let's see the next case. The next case is all about Garmi. That's very, very interesting next case. I'll just read it now, and tomorrow we're going to go into the iyun of that. A person threw a kli from the top of the roof. He's not a mazik. No. He's, I don't know, they want to move house. And somebody threw a kli onto the ground, but on the ground there were mattresses, there were I don't know how to say it in American English, comforters, whatever, duvets, yeah, pillows, cushions, all very nice. Yeah, by the way, it's not true. Korem Ksosos, it's on Persia with the Mishnah. In modern Hebrew, pillows and cushions. In the notion of the Mishnah, the Korem Ksosos, one of them is a mattress. I learned it in Kalim recently. It's a big fat mattress, like a poofy thing, or like a puff, or the kids are very nice puffy things that can accept the Kalim nicely. The Kalim, nothing's going to happen to the Kalim. I'm throwing the Kli knowing that it's going to have a very soft, nice landing. Bo acher v'silkan. Came the vicious guy from the bottom floor, and he pulled him out. With a candid camera, he pulled them out of the thing, pulled the rug under the feet, as they say, and they smashed. Oi, listen to this. Kodam v'silkan, the top guy, the same guy who threw them on the mattress, he himself actually took out the mattress in advance, exactly, before they fell. Potu, wow. Even if it's the same persona, the same one threw them on the Korim Uksosos, and then afterwards quickly he ran down. Or some Rishonim say he has a mechanism. He has like a pulley thing, that he pulled the car from the top floor. He pulled with some kind of lever, with a rope, he pulled out the mattress. So he threw it into a mattress, and the last second he pulled out the mattress and then it broke potter. Why is it potter? My timer. Why is that? Be'idna the shadye, because at the time when he threw it, and we said, Shadye, we said the time that's most detrimental is when you throw it from the roof. When he threw it from the roof, Pisuki Mafsiki Gire, his arrows are keilu stopped already, they are already disabled, which means this is a whole big sugi here in the Rishonim. The kids we say like this. Before going to the depth tomorrow, I'll tell you like this. Actually, we have 5 more minutes. We started today 10:25. 5 more minutes, my friends. Yeah, we said like this. When the person threw the kli onto the soft ground, he didn't do anything wrong. I'm throwing it on super soft ground. Later on, I pulled the rug. To pull a rug under, that's a Grama. So I am Mr. Grama. Look, my name is Grama, and I love doing Gramas. And therefore I'm potter. At the first instance, I did something which is not nezik. I'm throwing on a super nicey, cushiony kind of place. To pull the cushion from a kli that's about to fall, that's classical Grama. And therefore I am potter. If anybody doesn't like it, you can join a group of Rishonim which are followed the Shulchan Aruch. The Shulchan Aruch says that he's chayev. But first let's explain. The story is as follows. This story is about Grama and Grama. The first action was okay. The second action was Grama. So this person falls between the cracks of the Jewish law and is not chayev. Now, why doesn't it sit with us right? Because the person is a jerk. Right? Say the Rishonim. Rashi says it's a Grama. Grama ben Ezekin, you're potter. Now, some Rishonim say this is not Grama, but Garmi. Garmi is a scary word. Garmi is a word which through my entire learning career, I never figure out what's Garmi, and I'm not alone. Many Rishonim have very, very big difficulty to understand what's Garmi. Garmi basically is a concept of somewhere between Ezek B'Yadayim and Grama. It's a Grama, but worse than Grama. Garmi is a person, and that's a good example brought down in our Masechta in Daf Tzadik Ches, a person who burns someone else's shtar. Let's say Ellen owes me 10 million pounds. It's okay, fine. You can give them in. I'll just take it out of the pocket. Yeah, in 5 minutes. Yeah, just get it out of the bank. Yeah. And I have a note saying Ellen owes me 10 million pounds. Okay, and then you go and you're friendly with Ellen and you burn the shtar. There are no edim, and you can't rewrite it, whatever, now you're going to deny it. You burn the shtar that says he owes me 10 million. So now, you can say, I didn't take 10 million from you. A shtar is just a way. What's a shtar? I always call it, not me, the Rishonim, afser de'ara. Shtar is like the remote control, is like the muzzle, is like the handle over the land. The shtar is not the money. Shtar is means to get the money, like a check. A check of 10,000 shekels, a check of whichever, is a way to get the money from the bank, hopefully. It takes time, and maybe it's returned. It's a way to get there. So now the guy would say, I only burnt your check, I burnt your star, I didn't take away your money. So that is already a little bit offline, whatever. And here some Amoyroim say that's not Grama, mister, it's Garmi. Garmi means you didn't do Maaseh B'Yadayim to take the money, but you did Maaseh B'Yadayim to something that will bring the money. Yeah, let's say you have a very nice air condition and they stole your remote control. And there's no way you can get to the air condition, it's too high. In other words, Lamaisa, I disabled you from getting what you deserve. That is not Grama, but Garmi. What's the definition of Garmi? It's a good question, and we're going to discuss it today and tomorrow. Some Rishonim say that this case of this guy over here who pulled the rug or the nice cushiony cushions from under the kli that's about to fall, that's not Grama, that's Garmi. Why? And some Rishonim say it's not Garmi. I'll actually explain to you already now, because I saw a very clear definition in the Mukha Yosef and I was dancing with joy. It says in Mukha Yosef like this. Some Rishonim learn that Garmi is when you did a Maise Beyadayim to the object. You took my shtar, yes, you burnt the shtar with your own hands. You took a lighter, whatever, a match, and you burnt the shtar. That's Maise Beyadayim. What's Grama? Grama is the person who calls and says, can you please break his kli? That's Grama. Right? I'm talking and the other guy does it. That's Grama. A Grama is something, I'm putting a letter over here and then something else will happen, more of a chain reaction. But if it did Maise Beyadayim, that's Garmi. Mimela, they say in this case of pulling the rug, that's not Garmi. And why? Because I did not touch the kli. I'm careful. I have no hands. I touched the cushions, which belong to me maybe. I just took it off and then the thing happened by itself. Mimela, that's not called Garmi, it's called Grama and I'm potul. Other Rishonim say, hey, wait a minute, that's too much already. Other Rishonim, such as the Mukha Yosef and the Shulchan Aruch, there's tons of stuff in the Meforshim Shulchan Aruch to define Garmi, billions of, a lot of things there. They say Garmi means when it's a sure nezik. When the nezik is going to happen for sure, that's not Grama, which is light, it's Garmi, which is severe. Garmi is worse than Grama. Garmi, you're chayev. Yeah, Mimela, they say Garmi, here it's Garmi, because you know it's going to happen. That kli, the vase, the whatever, is going to fall in 10 seconds, and you pull it out, you know billion% it's going to happen. Mimela, that's called Garmi, and you're chayiv. Why did the Gemara say Potter? Because Rabba happens to be of the party of a Meroim who don't believe in Garmi. But Shulchan Aruch says you are chayiv. Third definition, and that's the best one. Third definition is, he says, the Ritzvah, in Toyses, in Bava Basra, Perek Sheni says, there's no difference between Grama and Garmi. You know why sometimes we call it Garmi, sometimes Grama? He says very, very simple. We all feel bad about Grama. A person can be a mafioso, can command to kill everyone and be potter. So says the Ritzvah, if the nezik is common, if it's something that's commonly done, yeah, then it's called Garmi. Rabbanan were goizer. If a person abuses the kul of Grama and does it too much, or people in general use it too much to engineer a nezik to a different person indirectly, then there's a gzeira on them that they have to pay. And that's Garmi. Garmi means when a Grama is being abused too much, then we put it in a box called Garmi, and we say it's also. Why is it also? Because we feel like, because you're abusing the system. Mimela says the Rama that enechinam is things that happen commonly, either by a person, community, I don't know exactly what's the definition, you have to pay, even though it's Grama, because if you abuse the system, then you already have to pay. Yes, Gvul, as we say.
Subject to subjectivity.
Of course, obviously. Jeffrey, yes? Jeffrey's asking, are there Meroim that don't believe in Garmi ever, and Garmi is always mutter? The answer is yes. Now, mutter does mean mutter. Mutter means you're not going to pay B'dinei Odom, but Hashem will punish you in Olam Haba. Secondly, the Rama says, when a person does Grama, sometimes based in, even without Garmi, they machrim, they put him in cherem or nidu until he returns the money. Meaning they can't manage force it with the police and beat him up until he gives it back, or like today would be jail, but they can put him in cherem or nidui until he gives back the money. So it's not that Grama is recommended. Grama is osir, Grama is b'dinei shamayim, Grama done, yeah, so enechinami. But Lamaisa, Rabba is the one who doesn't differentiate between Grama and Garmi, and he says whenever it's not b'yadayim, then he doesn't have to pay the money. Okay, the next case, and that's tomorrow, a case of somebody throwing a baby from the top floor, and another person came and speared it with his sword underneath. The other one, he welcomed him with his sword. Stay tuned for tomorrow. A horror movie. Tomorrow's a horror movie. Yeah, he threw the baby from the top, then came the sword from underneath. It was killed with the sword. And the horror, it's a similar case, but when it comes to killing, then the rules are different. May we not know of such things only in the Gemara that the Nazis used to do. We should have a good day, good Elul. The shiur is over. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm listening. Bye.